Hello, everybody. Today we'll be reading The Odd Ones Out How to Be Cool and Other Things I Definitely Learned from Growing Up by James Rallison, also known as The Odd Ones Out. Part 12, Chapter 9, Son. It's time we talk about the crickets and the worms. After the traumatic kindergarten moth incident, I decided I wasn't a fan of insects anymore, but sometimes you can't avoid them. Like one time I volunteered to watch a friend's pet frogs while he was away on vacation. Along with a frog habitat, he gave me a box of feeder crickets. Sadly, after the first day, I didn't put the lid securely onto the box and all the crickets escaped. Yeah. Look, I never claimed to be super responsible. Ah, Jiminy. Crickets. Ah ha ha. Get it. Like, yeah. This was bad for two reasons. Now we had nothing to feed the frogs, and number two, there was a bunch of rogue crickets in my bedroom. Luckily, crickets make a loud noise at all times for no reason, so you'll always know that. Yes, you do indeed have crickets in your bedroom. It was like they were taunting me. We're still here, loser. We tried to put the crickets back in their prison, but it turns out they didn't want to be eaten, so we ended up using the vacuum. See you later, crickets! Ah. But even with that method, we didn't catch all of them. After the loud vacuum turned on, the crickets seemed to think it was their turn to be as loud as possible. Those were tough nights. Hopefully they all starved to death. Don't feel sorry for those crickets, though. Their one and only purpose in life was to be food for amphibians, amphibia reference. And they got to survive since all of the food had escaped. My family caught wild crickets outside to keep the frogs from starving. I only eat vegan, non-GMO free-range crickets. But I don't want to talk about insects anymore. Instead, I'm going to tell you another rescue and release story about worms, which is only a small step up from insects. They are pretty much pink caterpillars that don't have a cool final evolution. Worm evolves at level 23. Bigger worm. Has anyone ever told you that if a worm gets cut in half, it turns into two worms? Well, it turns out that's a myth. The only worms that have that superpower are planarian flatworms, which don't even look like worms. Planarian flatworm. I live in the desert of Arizona. Even the early birds here don't get the worms because worms aren't native to the desert. This is because the soil here is basically dry dirt and clay. Here's a fun factoid. A little way down in the ground, we have a layer of cement-like soil called caliche. Caliche is so dense, the Native Americans who lived in Arizona not I stuttered so bad. Arizona used it to build their houses. The Casa Grande ruins in Coolidge are still standing after 700 years. The point being, any soil that can be used to construct a centuries-old two-story house isn't going to be good for growing things. You can dig a hole and plant a tree, but that tree's roots aren't going to make it through the caliche. They will run across your lawn and tap on your window asking for a drink before they'll dig through your caliche.